All right, folks. A lot of things are going on in the world. We'll be talking about those, and we'll be seeing who joins us on the panel discussion. No special guest today that I'm aware of, except for our new regular panelist, John Cena, and everything like that. But we'll see who else is going to join us. And of course, there are no special guests on this particular episode, but we might have some. Let's see, today's Thursday. I don't think there's one scheduled for tomorrow, but there might be some next week. But we'll see what goes on in that space or not, and everything like that. Trump is banning citizens of 12 countries from entering the U.S. So definitely that is something that folks are talking about. And apparently he's also announced the travel ban and restrictions on 19 countries. So so definitely that is something that is going on as they have recovered the bodies of two Israeli American hostages from the Gaza Strip. And Russia says it will repair warplanes damaged in Ukrainian drone attacks. So they're saying that they're going to, as Russia would turn us firebrand pro Kremlin are since God 8 seconds more than killed one Palestinians are killed heading to a Gaza aid site, according to what witnesses say. Israel is denying responsibility. Violent turbulence hits a Ryanair flight in Germany, forcing an emergency landing. So 9 were injured after the Ryanair flight hit turbulence. So that's something that is going on, and it left some of those people, it looks like 8 injured in Germany. So that's something that is going to be talked about in terms of airline safety. And Russian strike kills 5 in Ukraine, including a 1-year-old, hour after. So drone is will. Protests going on in that area. So more than half suspended those lawmakers who performed that ritual in that particular country. And OpenAI takes down covert operations tied to China and other countries. And the mushroom trial is still going on in Australia. The accused weighed fatal dose on kitchen skills, is what the prosecutor is saying. So the Australian murder suspect is cross-examined over the poisonous mushroom meal. Woman accused of triple murder says foraged mushrooms may have been added to the meal. So death caps and cancer claims, how Aaron Patterson responded to the first day of the mushroom trial cross-examination. And Germany shifts tone on Israel. We stand by the Jewish state, says their foreign minister. So definitely that's something that the folks are talking about as well. And definitely a lot's going on with that distribution of aid there in Gaza. And as I reported yesterday, 3 World War II bombs are defused in a German city's biggest post-war evacuation. So German city evacuated 20,000 after unexploded World War II bombs were found. So that was in Cologne where they defused those bombs. And one of the biggest, world's biggest human gatherings has begun. So that is Hajj 2025. So it looks like Saudi Arabia is harnessing AI to transform the pilgrim experience in the 35 languages. So more than 1.5 million foreign pilgrims are in Saudi Arabia for the Hajj. So that is something that is part of the Muslim culture and all along those lines. And a hungry wild elephant raids a grocery store in Thailand for snacks. I guess that hungry elephant wanted some snacks and decided they were going to raid the grocery store. And definitely that is something I don't think you want to run into in any grocery store. Even here in the United States, I don't think folks want to see bears coming into their area or any other wildlife that might be going there looking for its food. And Vietnam ends its long-standing two-child policy. So communist country dumps decades-old two-child policy as birth rates are plummeted to alarming levels. So Vietnam is policy a concerning shift in Putin's behavior, calling him desperate. So Ukraine claims new underwater bomb attack on the Russia's Crimean bridge. And I know that this is something that both Sasha Starr and Jonathan Lockwood have been thinking would have happened even before now and everything. But yeah, it looks like this attack on the Crimean bridge has finally happened. And I know that they've been predicting this attack for a while here on this particular network. So it does look like that has happened. And the judge blocked the deportation of the Boulder attack suspect's family. So the Boulder attack suspect to appear in court as family remains in ICE detention. So folks on AP are asking what they have learned about the visa obtained by the Egyptian man who injured a dozen people in Colorado. And Elon Musk is urging Americans to take action to kill the Trump tax cut bill. So Trump is losing patience with Musk outbursts over the mega bill, and Tesla stock falls again as Musk killed the bill, screed his Trump's tax bill progress. So it looks like Elon Musk is actually going against Trump in this particular case. And Friedrich Merz, Germany's chancellor, heads to meet Trump at the White House. So as Trump meets the U.S. allies, American friends see a new world order. So it looks like Germany's Merz will be one of the latest leaders coming to meet with Trump. And Texas ends in-state tuition for undocumented students after Abbott and the AG agreed to join the DOJ to kill it. So DOJ sued Texas for offering in-state college tuition to illegal immigrants in alleged violations of federal law. And now it looks like they have joined forces and everything like that. So David Jolly, a Trump critic and former GOP congressman, looks like he's going to be running for Florida governor. So former Republican congressman turned Democrat launches his bid for governor in a push to flip red state Florida. So we'll see how this goes. And Trump bars foreign students from entering the U.S. to attend Harvard. So enhancing national security by addressing risk at Harvard University is what the White House reported in their document. So Trump restricts legal immigration and blocks students' visas for Harvard. And Columbia doesn't meet the accreditation standards due to anti-Semitism, is what Trump says. So Trump administration claims that Columbia violated Jewish students' rights and threatens that school's accreditation as well. So Columbia student loans are threatened by Trump's secret weapon, which is this whole thing around accreditation. So we'll see how this plays out also. And Xi and Trump held a long-awaited trade call. So they've talked as everything and all in that way. And stocks fall as traders brace for a China trade update and a jobs report. So we'll see how the conversation went. And Biden dismisses Trump inquiry into his cognitive decline as a distraction. So Trump orders investigation of Biden and his aides. So Greg Jarrett on Fox News said Biden, the marionette president, and the case of the runaway auto ban. So it looks like we're going to have an investigation now into Biden's cognitive health is what it's seeming like it's coming our way and all in that space. So I'm getting ready to bring in our folks. By the way, AOC is back in Zohran Mamdani for New York City mayor. So AOC backs the rising progressive candidate in the New York City Democratic primaries in a push to defeat the front runner Cuomo. So that's who AOC has endorsed, and we'll see if this endorsement has any impacts or not. And Trump is also proposing policies that would increase the soaring national debt. And some people are asking, what is the CBO? A look at the small office inflaming debate over Trump's tax bills. So CBO estimates Trump's bill could add $2.4 trillion to the deficit, leaving 11 million without health insurance. On that note, I'll bring in my folks and see what they've got to say about a number of these stories, including Rick Rosner from California, John Cena from Canada, and somewhere in there is Nick Valveda. We'll see when he's ready to join. What you got to say, Rick?
All right. So 22.5% of the undergrads at Columbia are Jewish, which is in Manhattan, which is 20.5% Jewish. You know, this whole Jewish thing is that they're protecting the Jews. The Trump is by fucking with Columbia is utter bullshit. My kid went to Colombia. I mean, she was out of there before the Gaza thing started, but it's a perfectly fine university in a perfectly fine city for frickin' Jews. It's ridiculous. I'm a Jew. I don't feel threatened by any of the events at Columbia, the protests over Gaza.
What's your take on this, Nick?
Whoa. Okay. I think that should not be really the point. The point should be government spending. And Elon Musk finally just got fed up with the fact that they're cutting Medicaid purportedly to save billions of dollars, and then they give this big tax cut, and that creates a $2.4 trillion deficit. So he's not happy with the big, beautiful spending bill, because what it does is all the money that all the people they cut, they turn around, they give the money away to wealthy individuals. It's just disgusting. So, Trump doesn't get it right. I mean, there's absolutely no way. He needs to focus in on balancing that budget. Then he can sell the American taxpayers on cutting, but you can't just cut poor people to the bone and then turn around and give the bone to the rich people and create more debt and make the country less solvent. So this is what we're seeing right now in the United States, or the un-United States of America, but that's the way I see it. Hey, Sharif has joined us. He sent me a business plan that looks really good. I think you sent it on WhatsApp, right? I need an email. I need an email, Sharif. I can't share it on WhatsApp. So anyway, send it to me on an email, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sure. But I think I sent you an email also.
Okay, well, resend it, because I've had requests for it already. It's about the World Talent on Pod TV, World Talent. It could be a really great show, or it could be a good show. It'll know whether it be good or great, depending on.
We'll see what happens. And speaking of new shows, we did launch a new show yesterday evening. So if folks want to go to Pod TV shows, they can see our young Gen X folks. I think that would be where they would fall in if they're in that 20-30 grade age range, which I think they are, and everything. But they are having a new show called Made in Spain, living in Miami. So they were talking about what they have learned in Miami in terms of places that they go hang out, some of the art galleries that they go to, and they also share their individual home areas in Spain where they were originally born, one of them being from Madrid and the other being from a country town. So we got into a conversation about the wines there in that area. Apparently there's a good wine market in Spain, just like there is in France and other places, but it's not as maybe popular in the United States and stuff like that. But they talked about that, and they talked about some of the other things that are going on in their lives. So if you've got any questions for young people from Spain, the show airs every Wednesday at 6:00. So be sure to let me know so I can ask the young lady the questions, and maybe we'll even have you come on the show and ask them directly yourself. But yeah, they're learning about being bi-coastal, or not bi-coastal, but being multi-cities and being international citizens, being from Spain, but now working for the Spanish government in Miami. So definitely it was a good opening show. And like I said, y'all can go back and watch it on the YouTube reruns. And of course, I'm sure we'll air it as reruns here on Pod TV as well. But yeah, that's something that folks can know. And speaking of countries, and maybe John's got some thoughts around this as well as Rick, I did not see the full list of the 19 countries, but apparently there are 19 countries that are no longer welcomed in the United States. So what is our thoughts about this list? Will the list grow? It's like, 200 countries, 200 plus in the world, and we've already said that about a tenth of them can't come to the United States. So what's your take on this, Rick?
Well, for one thing, it hits the Browns. We know who Trump doesn't like, and it's people who don't have white skin. Like Saudi Arabia, fine to come in, even though they sent us 15 of the 19 9/11 hijackers were Saudi. But still, we're totally okay with Saudis. It just reflects to a great extent Trump's racism.
What's your take on this, Toby? And do you have a list of the countries? I didn't see all of they were, but I do figure that they're mostly black and brown countries and everything. But what's your take on his restriction of these like 19 countries that he doesn't want coming in the U.S.
I mean, I'm right there with Rick. I mean, this just reiterates the point that under a Trump administration, brown people are not welcome. If you look at not only what they're doing in the with immigration itself, they put Sudan on the list of countries you're not able to come from. Well, you know what? They're trying to send people to Sudan in the immigration setup. Also, they're grabbing people who are the individuals that there are many white countries that people come from as well. They're not on the list. But yeah, it just reiterates the point that Rick just made, that brown people are not welcome under the Trump administration in the U.S.
Yeah. I think that'll be the case. Everything, John, what's going on in Canada and everything? I know and I'll try to remember to put your name on that list, and that was my fault for not doing that. But what is your take on what's going on in the world in Canada and y'all's reflections on what's happening here in the U.S.?
Yeah, I got a haircut, so that's good. I also glad I'm back on the distribution list. I can't make it every day, but when I can, I will attend. I wanted to quickly just go back to the big, beautiful bill. Did I hear Nicholas say that he doesn't think, or maybe I'm interpreted incorrectly in what he said? Is he now criticizing the big, beautiful bill, or complaining about maybe not being fiscal responsible bill? Did I hear a change in
I agree with Elon Musk. Okay,
Oh.
it doesn't cut enough. There's still all these idiot social programs and stupid tax credits, and it gives away too much to the rich people. Too many tax cuts for the wealthy individuals. When you add that, it's just a recipe for disaster. So I agree with Elon Musk. Everybody, all the senators should vote against it. I agree with Rand Paul. It's not a balanced budget. It creates 2.4 trillion in deficit. And most business leaders, including Elon Musk, are not in favor of more deficit spending. So I concur with Elon Musk.
Okay,
Yes.
so basically, you no longer think it's a big, beautiful bill.
I don't what?
You don't no longer think it's a big, beautiful bill as you.
Oh no, it's a big beautiful bill, but it didn't go far enough. I agree with Rand Paul and
David
Elon
Walker,
Musk.
I guess.
You have to cut all these social programs to the bone and then raise taxes on the rich. Two things that are not popular with either party. But if you want to make the United States great again, that's what you need to do. Two things not popular: tax the rich more, cut social programs more, and then you'll actually have a government that's solvent. But right now, that's not what they're doing.
I'm happy for small miracles.
Happy for what?
I'm happy for small miracles if you're changing your tune a bit.
Yeah. So anyway,
Wonderful.
you're only got a small miracle. But let me talk about this racism that Jatovi and Rick love to bring up, because America is the most racist country in the world. But that program is not racist, because if you look at it, the brown people in India, they still come here. That represents almost half the population of the world. And then Chinese people, they still can come in here. That's the other half. And then you look at a lot of those other African countries, they're all welcome. So, it's not a racist program. It's mainly Who Hates America program. I'm surprised South Africa isn't it on the list. It should be. So the thing is, what happens though with the progressives in the United States, everything's about the race. Everything's ethnic, because the U.S. is the most racist country in the world. It was voted on the internet. And that's the reason I live in Spain. So, Bangladesh is welcome. I mean, come on. You guys you progressive have to get off this racism kick and start looking at reality for a change. Look, Sharif's welcome. So stop it. Stop it all now. And by the way, in progressive minds, Trump is guilty. It doesn't matter what he does.
No, Trump is a bully. Trump picks on the little guys. He's okay with the big brown countries with large populations. He's not going to mess with them. It's like what the Nazis did before World War II. They picked the Jews because the Jews had a ton of money, but they were only 1% of the population. These 19 countries, I haven't seen the list, but are any countries with more than, say, 50 million people on the frickin' list. No, he leaves the big countries alone. He does because, like a bully, he punches down at little guys. Sudan, like, can't fight back. It's a tiny ass country, poor ass country. Yeah, it's fine to put on the list and satisfy his supporters, and make libs cry, but it doesn't have the implications of trying to stop people from India.
But see, that's
Well,
what you, that
Nick,
statement is
Nick,
totally,
Nick,
yeah, Rick,
hold
that's
on.
totally not true. That's MSNBC garbage. If you look
Nick.
at it, he's in altercations with China all the time. China is not a little country. I'm sorry. So when you make these blanket statements, oh yeah, he picks on little countries, and he gets into fights with
Nick.
China. Look, Trump gets into fight with everybody. He get in fight on our network because that's just who he is. He fights everybody for anything, any reason, because he has nothing better to do with his time, I guess. So to say that he just fights little guys, no, he fights big guys, little guys.
No, he doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
I-
It makes everybody mad at him.
I just want to add some point,
Yeah.
Nick, if you allow me. Okay, first thing first, I want to appreciate your Global Talent Program. This is very innovative. I discussed with some media person and I send you some dance and music, right, from Bangladesh with English meaning. So it's very popular, heroes and everyone in Bangladesh. They are very excited to see that our program is successful. So this is one thing. Second thing, this is very important because I am very good ally of USA. I have very good friends like me in USA. They are always helping me and they guide me, they mentor me. I'm very grateful to many US people. So things is that what I'm seeing, look, talent is something because we are developing the world talent or global talent program. Talent is something which is very, very important for any country, for any community, for any organization, for any whatever it is. Color, race, it's not a matter at all. Uh, but how I see that Trump actually make all of this strategy and everything, I respect because he following the populism and he has the right to take care of his country. Undoubtedly, he has a right to take care of his country. But fact is that you are actually demotivating all of the talent. You are demotivating all of the country's growth in USA. We see in Silicon Valley, all of the large company, and most importantly, there is a competitions, right? Right now, there is a competition in between China and USA. What China is doing in education? See, China saying, even China offer me, hey Sharif, you join in China Science Academy, I'm going to pay you $700,000 to doing your research. That is the reality. On the other hand, what USA said, hey, you cannot come to my country. Yeah, I have visa and all of the things, but in terms of finance and support and everything, what I'm seeing, they are actually not helping this ecosystem. So how US economy actually grow? US economy grow with all of the talents, support and everything. Even though you see those who win Nobel Prize, even Elon Musk, he is actually immigrant in your country. We do not know. Nick Palveda from Europe and he go to USA. I don't know. Even my family also immigrant in USA. USA is not a country of a. I'm sorry to say some people's like white people or something. So you have to rely. So that is the competition in between China and USA. I'm very, very honest with you. How I see this research industry, innovative industry, USA losing in this game. How I see this emerging economy and all of these strategic things, USA losing this place. How I see this trade war and all of the things, USA losing a lot of friends. Even though the global peace and all of the things US are losing. So honestly speaking, Trump, what he's doing, he's not honestly making his country great or something. On the other hand, he is actually helping China or Russia. Honestly speaking, China doing tremendous job. China make billions of dollars from Bangladesh. What US is doing? Nothing. Last year, 17,000 Bangladeshi students goes to USA. They're investing in USA economy. And many people come back, like me. But this year, I say how many visa actually Bangladeshi student get. They said out of 100, only 5 students getting. So 90% students, they do not want to go to India, USA. Where they want to go? They want to go to Japan. Japan say, hey, I want to bring 100,000 hardworking, talented people from Bangladesh. This is a small scenario. It happening around 100 countries, 120 countries, or 30 countries. Honestly speaking, how the Trump and his administration working, they are not helping USA. They are losing in front of China.
Yeah, they're definitely losing in
This
front of
is your
China. By the
choice.
way,
This is your choice. What you do? You support Trump? Yes, you have right. You support racism? Yes, you have right. You support your country. But remember, talent is something. People is something. Whatever you say, I bring all of the brilliant AI do this, AI do that. With that human, who behind this AI? The talented peoples behind AI. So until or unless you do not care about global community, I'm sorry, you are losing in front of China with your strategy.
I hear what you're saying and everything. I did find a list of the
But
countries.
Nick, I want to help you. I want to make a great
We need tremendous help in the United States, but I live in Spain, Bangladesh.
Yeah, he lives in Spain now. But by the way, I have the list of the.
I want to be your good friend. I
I
want to
have
be
the
your
list of
good
the
friend.
countries, by the way. And I did have a question for Rick because I'm trying to figure out what they're doing with one of his favorite topics. But the list of the 12 countries whose nationals are fully restricted from traveling to the U.S. under Trump's travel ban are Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guyana, Eritrea. And by the way, my neighbor used to be from Eritrea until they recently moved and everything. So I guess if they move back home, they can't come back and everything. Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen and everything. So those are the ones that have been totally restricted. And then the ones with a partial restriction are Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela, your favorite country. So Venezuela has been a partial ban and everything like that. So those are the 19 countries. And yeah, like y'all said, most of those are black and brown countries from what
I want to talk about the first country on your list, Afghanistan. There are 180,000 Afghan refugees in the U.S. They are in danger of losing their protection. We have the longest war in U.S. history with Afghanistan, 20 years. And a ton of people, thousands and thousands of Afghans helped the U.S. Army with our efforts over there, acted as translators, office aides, soldiers on our behalf. And when the U.S. withdraws, if they can't, a lot of those people, if they're known to have helped the U.S., you think the Taliban is going to treat them nicely? We allowed 180,000 of those people in because they helped us fight the war there. And now we're removing their protections. And if you get out now, because the Taliban's after your ass, you can't come to the U.S. It's obnoxious, ridiculous. Now, the justification for a lot of these countries is that they have, not because of terrorism, but because they have high visa overstay rates. But when people from, say, Chad or Eritrea, the government is saying that a lot of these, they have a high rate of when their time runs out, they just stay. But I'm sure if you look at the larger countries, India, China, that the actual numbers of people overstaying visas is way, way higher than the number of people from frickin' Chad.
I would agree with you on that and everything. Hey, go ahead.
Just to point out two quick things. There's another issue, like for example, what Rick just talked about, how how he put Afghanistan on the list, but there are Afghan soldiers and Afghan individuals that helped us out. Those 59 white people from South Africa got in before the people who helped us. There is no genocide in South Africa.
Oh yeah, there is.
No, there isn't. Nick,
it's documented.
Nick,
Just go
Nick,
Google it.
Nick,
Don't
it is
think
not.
like that to
Nick,
everybody.
stop.
Just
Stop.
is
You're smarter than this, Nick. You're better than this, Nick. You're a lawyer. You know
By the
that.
way, I invite all the people
And
listening.
Nick,
to
you know that there is no
accurate
genocide.
statement.
Nick,
Google it,
Nick,
please.
again,
Fact check it.
Nick,
Because it was another just
here.
a not
Prove
statement.
it then. Nick, how many?
already said,
What's the percentage? What is the percent? Nick, I'm asking you questions because this is what we're going to do now. Just because you are wrong, I'm going to prove
No,
you
you're
wrong.
wrong.
Nick,
You've just
again, this is what we're
Here
going to do
we go.
now.
Here we go.
Now, genocide has a definition
I'm
that is
correcting.
both legal, which you are a lawyer and you're supposed to know. So if there is a
correct your
genocide, give me the
statement,
percentages of how many white farmers are actually being targeted.
Go look at it.
Thank you. You do not know, so you're just making it up.
No,
So
it's
again,
on the
you
internet.
do
No,
not know, so you're just
Hey,
making
Nick,
it up.
multiple
Number two.
independent sources. Multiple independent
Go
sources.
look at multiple independent sources. What he said is just a not true statement.
Multiple
the
independent
reason
sources,
they're
as
coming
you
over
would
here.
not let John
And-
finish.
and the
Multiple
other thing
independent
that we're
sources have pointed
glossing
out there
over-
is no
We're
genocide.
glossing over is
You're
Joe
going to talk
Nick,
Biden.
there
over me.
is
I'm going
no
to talk
genocide.
over you. Come on.
Afghanistan. It was
Come
a
on.
progressive, stupid move by
Nick,
your
there is no
progressive-
genocide.
Again, a bad policy
Nick.
decision by progressive.
Nick,
I have some actual numbers. out of
we
South
have
Africa.
numbers.
Yeah, I do too.
Here's some numbers out of South Africa. 26,000 people get murdered every year in South Africa. What percent of them are farmers? 0.1%, or roughly 26 people. Of those farmers, most of them are black. So we're
again,
talking about
Nick.
a genocide of maybe a dozen white people a year out of 26 white farmers a year out of 26,000 people who get killed in South Africa every year.
so Nick, again,
Well,
12
that's a
people,
good reason to leave. Right?
12 Nick, 12 people
Again,
being
you guys are
killed is
making
not
it
a
black and white
genocide.
thing.
So
It's not a
please
black
stop.
and white thing
You're,
because
you're,
racist.
you're sounding
You're
poor right
American
now. You're
racist.
sounding really
He's
bad.
bringing people
There
in that
is
are afraid
no
of
genocide.
Nick,
I
Nick,
we
you're
have-
better than that. Nick,
Permanent-
you're better
Much
than
better
this.
than this, Nick.
We've determined it's genocide. He's bringing people
Nick,
in.
who
and you
determined it
guys-
was a genocide?
You guys are just American
Who
progressive
determined
racists.
it was a
I got it,
genocide,
I
Nick?
got it.
You mean the
by the way,
individual
everybody-
who grabbed white farmers but decided that the black
not
farmers who are
trust
dying,
Pod
it's
TV
okay for them to die when there are more black farmers dying than white farmers?
Don't
So
trust
again, Nick,
progressive
you're saying that it's okay to kill black people. That's what you're saying.
Nick,
No,
Nick,
I'm just-
you're better than this.
He just
The-
said it
The
was
statistics,
Nick.
the
guys
information
Who
just
said
is
it was genocide?
You're typical progressives. You don't listen. You have two
No, your
congregations.
typical ignorant lawyer who's sitting
many-
here
how
trying to
many
tell
murders
people
were
that
South
there
Africa?
is no, a genocide doesn't want to listen to
Please.
any
How many
statistics
murders
that
in South
prove them
Africa?
wrong.
How many murders in South Africa? What'd you say, Rick? 26,000.
Yeah.
He's close.
What was the percentage of that that
Well,
were white
Nick,
farmers?
Nick,
Oh,
the
you guys
crime
are making a racist
statistics,
thing. I'm
Nick,
not.
the
you didn't
courts,
listen to
the
the
crime
numbers.
experts have said there is no genocide. In the chat, I provided documentation of that. You don't want to. It seems like you don't want to.
I would
listen to that,
suggest that
and you're just talking
26,000
over me.
people being
That's
murdered.
fine.
Nick, you
26,000
did not
people
listen
murdered
to
is
the
genocide.
numbers.
That's
You
right.
did not listen to the numbers at all. Rick, could
No,
you
no,
please
wait,
tell
wait,
me-
Rick,
Nick,
say
hold
it
on,
again.
Nick.
How many
Nick,
people were murdered
you
in South
yourself,
Africa?
because you're not listening to anybody and you're quoting numbers that
Rick,
don't even
Rick.
back up your own point.
Rick,
So again,
Yeah,
Nick,
what?
if Nick,
Rick, can you
Rick,
explain how many people
please
were murdered in
listen.
South
Rick,
Africa?
can you tell me how many
26
white farmers?
So
How many?
26,000 people get murdered in South Africa every year.
Okay,
The
it's
blacks
close.
and colored people
Now you guys are
have a
now
higher
Nick,
murder
stop.
rate than
Nick,
white
stop. You
people.
sound
racist.
bad. You sound really
Please,
ignorant right now.
America.
Oh, Nick,
you're better
isn't
than
it-
this.
hold on a second.
Stop.
I thought genocide was a targeted group
Rick,
and everything.
Mark, hold on. Let's finish with the numbers real quick. Rick, can you do all the numbers? And Nick, please sit there and listen to the numbers.
like I said, that you guys
Oh,
really
you
need
don't
to
want to
go back.
listen to the numbers now because they prove you
No,
wrong.
I did. Here
You don't
it
want to
is.
listen to the numbers.
You know, and then thing is, when you
Rick,
look at the
can you
farmers
please- can you please
over the last
tell the court
over
the
years,
numbers one more
last
time,
decade,
please?
it was several thousand.
No, Nick,
Thousands.
listen.
And then,
listen,
of course, you don't want to
listen.
listen.
You're
listen
not going to
to
gaslight
rhetoric.
people
It
here.
is racial
I'm sorry, Nick. You may
Well,
own the station, but I will talk over you to get this right. We
No,
cannot
you already got
play
it
with
wrong.
this.
So that's the reason I had to interrupt. But you can go on and,
So,
and
Rick, can you
keep your
please add the
inaccurate,
numbers one more
statement.
time?
So 26,000 murders. Of
That's a
them,
lot.
1 in 1,000 are a farm murder. So around 26, around 24 people are victims of murders on farms every year. I would assume that the U.S. farm murder rate is similar, right? 1 in 1,000 of the people. You know, the U.S. I don't know how many. I know that 18,000 Americans are murdered by guns every year. I don't know what the overall murder rate is, but you know, we got roughly the same number of people killed in the U.S. as in South Africa. We have a lower murder rate because we have a higher population, but about 1 in 1,000 people killed in South Africa it's a farm murder. And so that's not exactly, and most of the people killed on farms in South Africa are black. So whitey getting slaughtered on a farm is less than 1/20th of 1% of the murders. It's not a freaking genocide.
Can I repeat what I put in the chat?
Please.
Okay. And Nick, you're going to have to listen and don't interrupt. Okay. No, there is no genocide occurring in South Africa. Multiple independent sources, including South African courts, crime experts, international news organizations, and fact checkers, have thoroughly investigated and dismissed claims of genocide, particularly the allegation of a white genocide against white farmers or any other group in South Africa. South African courts and crime experts have said, so judges and crime analysts have categorically stated there is no evidence of genocide against any group. The courts have called such claims imagined and not real. Crime statistics. South Africa does have a very high murder rate, as Rick said, affecting all communities. Farm murders, which include both white farmers and predominantly black farm workers, account for only a tiny fraction, less than 0.2% of total homicides. Most violent crimes are not racially motivated, but are linked to broader issues of crime and robbery. Nick, that's the facts.
No, it isn't. That, John, that's all opinion. Let me give you what facts
Nick,
are.
no, stop.
No. Hold on. It's not opinion. These
Farm
are
attacks. I'm just going to
independent.
give you.
You're
This is
talking
right
over
from
me.
Wikipedia.
I'm going to talk over you.
This is all your opinion, John. All your opinion. So
No, it's not my
farm
opinion.
attacks. Farm
Stop. This
attacks.
is not my opinion.
Hold on,
Reported farm
Nick.
attacks from
You can't
2010
even use Wikipedia in a court of law, and you're going to pull it up here.
4,308.
Nick,
farm murders
stop.
from
I'm stopping you before you even going. I'm not even going to listen to what you have to say because
Really?
you're pulling from Wikipedia.
806. Those
You're
are
pulling
facts.
from Wikipedia.
All the stuff that you're saying
You
is
can't
your own
even use
opinion
Wikipedia
being
in
placed
school.
over the facts. So
You can't
I'm
use
going to give you the
Wikipedia
facts.
in a
You
court of
guys
law,
can work
but
out
you're
your
gonna use it
opinions.
now.
You already know what your opinion
Where
is.
this
Make
actual white
facts.
genocide idea came
Okay,
from
farm
is
attacks.
actually a white supremacist push from different sites, from 4chan and all the other ones. And so when you push this white genocide thing, you're pushing white supremacist propaganda. That's why I can't allow that to happen. So if this is what this channel is turning to, is hey, we're going to give okay to white supremacist propaganda.
Murders.
Is that what's going on, Nick?
806. No, what we like to do is do facts. So rather than
Okay,
you guys
so do
express
facts.
your opinion,
Don't pull from
I am going to
Wikipedia.
put up the facts. There's the facts.
Don't pull from Wikipedia.
Now you guys can talk however you like.
You just got the facts and numbers from Rick, and then you say,
No,
you're
I
gonna
got
pull
it
from a
from
white supremacist
internet.
website. Thank you.
Hello.
Wikipedia.
All good.
It cannot be used in a court of law, Nick. I'm not sure how long you've been going to Spain now, but I guess you lost your idea of how courts run. So again, you can't use Wikipedia in a court of law, but you're going to pull it up here as if it's a fact.
Let me say
So
one
please
other
don't
thing
do
that
that.
I put on the chat as well. International law, genocide
This
is
is all
defined
opinion.
as acts intended to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. There is no credible evidence that such acts are being perpetrated or condoned by the South African government or society against any group. I mean, again, Jotovi's absolutely right. If you're going to use this channel to propagate just racist white supremacist ideas,
No, there's nothing race to
I'm
white.
going to have to not participate anymore because this is not right.
So there's nothing racial I'm putting up there. You guys brought in the
Here's,
race.
I have some more numbers. So white
Okay.
people account for 8% of the population of South Africa. The rest are black people or colored people, which I don't know exactly, but it's like people from India, of Indian descent and stuff like that. People of mixed race. Whitey, 8% of South Africa, less than 2% of murder victims. So your best bet, if you don't want to be a murder victim in South Africa, is to be white.
And then Rick, if you could do me another favor, since you're awesome with these numbers, you just pointed out the actual numbers in terms of 8% of South Africans are white. So then, how much of the land do those 8% own? This is where it comes from, because last I checked, they own more than 50% of the land, and they're upset because due to the fact of apartheid that was going on, and now this reversal in apartheid, they're losing their land based on the fact of, having to give back the land that they stole. That is where this.
Okay, all right. So Whitey, 8% of the population owns 72% of agricultural and farming land.
That came from apartheid. That came from land that they stole from the actual native Africans that actually lived there. So now when the transition is happening where Whitey, or however you want to, the Afrikaners that actually settled there and colonized there and took the land, are having to deal with the actual repercussions of actually apartheid ending, they're upset. So you know what happened? This white supremacist propaganda came out. Hey, it's white genocide. They're stealing our land.
I have the black numbers. So black people are 80% of the population, and they own between 4% and 10% of farmland.
And therein lies the problem.
But Whitey is not systematically being murdered on their farmland. About a dozen whites get killed in farm murders, and the motive, apparently, according to this article, and I'm in the same boat as Nick says Wikipedia. I'm citing Google AI. I don't know. It's hard to get back to solid sources, but Google AI says that in most of these farm murders, the motivation was robbery rather than. So I don't know. I mean, but it's not like there are kill squads going around looking for, white farmers and executing them.
I got
They
get ready to divert to another topic. Let's check two more, but we only got a few minutes in. But you brought it up yesterday. Hold a second.
Before we get to Nick, really seriously, think about this issue, because we don't want you to propagate white supremacist.
No, part of it is Nick owns the network. And Nick loves when we yell at each other because it's fun. I mean, when I do my show once a month where I yell at, my friend is a Trumper, and we just scream at each other. One time I threw furniture. That's
not on the network. You didn't throw furniture. I would not have allowed that.
If that's motivation, I will not continue this because I got better use of my time.
Understood.
Another issue with the white farmers that came over, and I mean, not only the race issue, but also due to the fact where they're getting their land from, because JD Vance owns Ace Trader. Ace Trader is what got them the land. So where do you think why do you think there's a tie between these white farmers and JD Vance now?
Yeah, there's definitely a tie there and everything. I want to get back to the south of the border, because apparently the Supreme Court on June 5th, which would be today, rejected Mexico's attempt to hold U.S. gun makers liable for violence and atrocities Mexican drug cartels have inflicted using their weapons. So apparently Mexico was trying to sue the gun makers because they're the ones that gave the guns, and then I guess the cartel used the guns. So the court unanimously ruled that firearm makers are protected by federal law, barring certain lawsuits against them. An action cannot be brought against a manufacturer if, like Mexico's, it is founded on a third-party criminal use of the company's product, is what Justice Elena Kagan wrote for the court. So what is our thoughts around this notion of even trying to sue Colt or whatever the gun manufacturers
All right,
are?
so for the past, I don't know how long, there has been legislation because a lot of politicians are owned by the NRA. They got
Yeah.
legislation passed quite a while ago, maybe 20 years ago. You cannot sue gun manufacturers for deaths caused by guns. And nobody can. And there have been a couple lawsuits slowly making their way, more recently in the past few years, where people have actually somehow managed to sue gun manufacturers. But for the most part, gun manufacturers are protected from being sued by law.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. The other thing I was going to get to, and maybe you got some thoughts around this, Rick, is AI is becoming very popular, and apparently there is a major event that is going on. It's been going on, I think, for about a week, maybe a couple of weeks, if I remember my history and cultural situations correctly. But Hajj is going on in Saudi Arabia, and apparently they're using AI to kind of like find a way to get the crowd controlled or whatever and everything like that. So what is our thoughts about AI being used in this major event? Because this is like millions of people that will descend on Saudi Arabia. Y'all mentioned Saudi Arabia earlier, and there'll be millions, like 1.7 or something like that, that'll be descending on Saudi Arabia and all along those lines. And they did say that they were going to use AI as a way to kind of like control the crowds.
Okay, so if you've ever seen Hajj, they've got this big cube thing. You're supposed to go once in your life to Saudi, and if you're a good Muslim, and walk like 7 times around this giant cube, and you have hundreds of thousands of people walking around this cube every day during Hajj. And if the crowd gets out of hand, you can have a stampede that can injure or kill hundreds and thousands of people, because it's like 2 football stadiums full of people walking in a circle, and if people freak out, it's very dangerous. So yeah, if they can use AI to somehow manage the crowds, good. I piloted a podcast with JD. If you watch Naked at Night, you might know JD. We're starting a podcast about AI meets Hollywood, and we've been working on the theme song. And so far, the lyrics we have are, "Here comes AI, we're all gonna die, aye, aye, aye."
Yeah, I like that language. By the way, Saudi Arabia has barred more than 269,000 people without permits for the annual Hajj pilgrimage from entering Mecca this week, authorities said, as the world's largest annual gathering of people has officially begun. So they are reinforcing strict bans for this year's pilgrimage season in efforts to curb overcrowding in Mecca, which has been the scene of deadly crushes during Hajj in the past. So in May, the kingdom clamped down on visa numbers, banning certain types of visas for travelers from 14 countries, mostly Arab nations. So apparently this whole notion of restriction also happens in other countries as well. But Saudi officials said 1.5 million foreign pilgrims are taking part in the Mecca pilgrimage, in addition to an unspecified number of local Muslims. But they are apparently doing some restricting there as well, in terms of and maybe they are using AI to restrict these.
Oh wait, here's where religion runs into AI. I just saw a story on Drudge where tens of thousands of people are now worshiping AI as if it is a god.
So AI is its own god right now?
Yeah, they think that AI is the manifestation of God on earth. That this is how, which, it doesn't sound like the best idea.
It does not sound like the best idea to me at all, and everything. Hey, Nick, this is the last thing I was going
I'm
to get
here.
to, because we mentioned it earlier and everything on yesterday's show. But this new, and I know we had Dr. Patman's show, this new variant of the pandemic is showing that COVID is not done with us and everything, because apparently it is coming out of China again, and apparently it is hit several countries and everything like that. So they're saying a terrifying new COVID variant from China is more transmissible, and it's already been found in 6 U.S. states and everything. So what is our thoughts around this ND 1.81 strain and everything like that? Because it's already been detected in New York, Washington State, Rhode Island, Virginia, and Hawaii, and California just joined as the 6th state to report
Wow.
this highly contagious mutation. So are we getting ready to have another pandemic, and are we going to have more?
Okay, every year, COVID drops to low levels in the summer. Everybody's outside. They're not in
Right.
classrooms infecting each other. We're in the middle of our summer low where COVID rates nationwide have been lower than they've been in more than a year. But this 1.8.1, they got to give it a scarier name than 1.8.1. But yeah, it's spiking in China, and then it's moving towards the closest states. We have hot spots in Northern California. San Francisco, Sacramento area is a little bit lit up. Hawaii's lit up. If you believe in vaccines, and if you're on the West Coast, now might be a time that you want to get a booster, because we're going to head up. It's like we'll see COVID will head up in August and September, and we'll get a healthy spike, and then the biggest spike, it'll go back down a little bit, and then after Halloween into Thanksgiving and Christmas, we'll get our biggest spike of the year. It's happened every year for the past 5 years.
Yeah. It hasn't gone away yet, Mark. I mean, the thing is, it hasn't been completely eradicated. So we're just going to have to keep the eye on COVID. That's all I can say.
And this one, you don't want to get it, because one of the characteristic symptoms of this strain is razor blade throat. They say it's like having strep throat. If you ever had that as a kid, you remember how painful it is to swallow.
Well, it does look like, though, the stock market has recovered, which is pretty good, because all the progressive naysayers were saying, "Oh, Trump's destroying the economy," which obviously.
Well, I mean, part of that was the conversation with China and everything. So maybe Dr. Sharif has got some thoughts on that, because he just mentioned China earlier. But I know that Jing and G and definitely Trump were having some conversations around trade policies and trade war and everything. So apparently they're having phone conversations today if they haven't already had them and everything.
Why the stock market has recovered, Nick? I can tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because of I guess Trump, Taco, chickening out of his tariffs. So that's what caused the sharp downturn, and what's causing the sharp up is him just backing off. And every time he threatens, now I think the investors are figuring out he's full of you know what, and they just go ahead and ignore him. So back off, back on. How many times has he flip-flopped? I think 50 or so times. So yeah, that's the reason why it dropped. And now, for the most part, probably investors are just ignoring. In fact,
here's a fun story I just found. The Republican Study Committee in the House is looking to increase the full retirement age to 69 years old by 2033. So if we're going to give tax cuts to the top 0.1%, we got to find savings somewhere. And what you want to do is not give people full retirement benefits till 69.
Well,
Yeah, they're going to have to do that. I mean, the thing is, Social Security is running out of money. Medicare is going broke, all taking place in the next decade. So you're going to have reforms in the U.S. system. It was never actually sound to begin with. So they're going to have to extend the normal retirement age. They're already starting to cut Medicare. People don't know that, but your Medicare benefits are being diminished. It's going to continue that way. One way you got to do that.
Why are we giving the top 1% a $400,000 tax cut on average?
Because they bought Congress. There's no other good reason for it, Rick. Because the thing is, that is part I disagree with. You have to actually increase. I agree with David Walker. You got to have everybody pay more into the system to make it solvent, and you're going to have to decrease expenses. You need to do both. Both are very unpopular, but it doesn't matter if you want the United States to be solvent again, because right now we're not. The only dollar we beat up is the Canadian dollar. I don't know why. Maybe they've mismanaged their economy, but right now the dollar does well against the Canadian dollar. Against the euro, I'm getting my rear handed to me. All I can do is thank the Lord I sent a lot of money to Europe before this happened, so I don't have to worry too much. But I still bring money in from the U.S. and it's worthless. I mean, it keeps going down.
Yeah,
So,
Rick, you had a question, and now there's a light.
I was going to agree with Nick about like we're trying to help our kid. Well, our kid has some savings, but she's in England. She's shopping for houses over there with her. She just got married, and we're trying to send some of her savings over to her, but they're in dollars, and buying pounds right now.
You're getting killed on the. You're getting killed.
Yeah, a dollar buys 10% less than it did 6 months ago.
That is exactly true. You know, it's a real problem. I mean, at least it's for me. But I've been buying stuff in the U.S. because I'm going. It's cheaper than buying it in Europe because the dollar isn't worth very much anymore.
No, it sounds like a serious problem and everything like that. We've only got about another minute to go. So my lighthearted story that I mentioned earlier. So I've got to tease Dr. Sharif and everything like that, but others can join in on this fun story. How often when y'all are going shopping do y'all run into elephants? Because I'm sitting there going like, that was in Thailand, which isn't that far from you. And apparently the elephant was very hungry and decided it wanted to shop for some peanuts or some snacks in the grocery store.
It
So that was
went
one
for
of
the
the
sugary stuff. The
what?
elephant went for sugar, and in this convenience store.
Yeah, smart pachyderm. Okay, Sharif.
Yeah, I live in a very small country, lot of populations. Very, very small country. We are 1/5 of California, but we have, I think, 4 times bigger populations in Bangladesh. So I'm very honest with you. We are not afraid with the animals like elephant or tigers or all of the things. Maybe they are afraid of us because we are destroying all of the forest, natural things, and because we have a lot of population, no choice. We need our house, we need to live, and people has a lot of breed. So everybody want to be billionaires and trillionaires like USA, right? So honestly speaking, we are not. Bangladesh is not very much concerned about these natural issues, but hope they can take care of their our animal, our forest, and all of the things. This is also challenging. That is the things why people from Bangladesh or from India or from Pakistan or from other country, they are looking for place for immigrations. We do not, honestly speaking, we do not have enough scope of jobs. Here people are hardworking. Here people are like honest, sincere, but only things we do not have enough jobs. So that's why many people want to do these things. I think right now Japan is opening their door because Japan has a lot of elderly people and they need young and hardworking people from Bangladesh. So immigrations, what we are discussing, Trump is right. In a sense, he want to protect his country. He has this right. I respect this. I respect Nick even how you do debate. That is the beauty of America. Why? Because you are discussing online. You are discussing in your TV shows. What's your problem? How we can solve these things? You are debating with each others. This is called open society. This is important for every country. Bangladesh should follow, India should follow, even China should follow. And that's why I love Pot TV so much. Hopefully I can contribute more with my talented people for Pot TV, and we can make a great network. And maybe after 100 years, some young talented people will think about Nick, me, Jatovi, Rix, Mark Lees, and all of our friends. And that is the contribution for global growth. I believe all of you are open-minded, and hopefully we can make a better world. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate that. On that note, we're ready to get on out of here and everything. But Jatovi and John, I've got to tease both of y'all and everything. If you go to the grocery stores there in Canada and the United States and you run into a bear, because we don't have elephants here and everything like that, please just let the bear buy its cereal or whatever else he wants to get, and don't try to encounter the bear or anything like that, because I'm thinking it might decide it wants to go grocery shopping like the elephant did and everything like that. But I don't know if y'all got any thoughts around that. Because
Bears, we have a lot of bears here, and they mostly do their shopping out of the dumpsters in back of the store. Or when it gets hot in the summer, they'll use your swimming pool.
Do they have Bengali tigers over there, Dr.
Yeah.
Sharif? Because the thing
Yes.
is, that's the big thing is that you got real. Do you really got? Have you seen one over in?
Yeah, if you come to Dhaka, you can go to zoo and you can see that Bengali tiger, right? Bengal tigers. So,
Okay.
This is the things. But honestly speaking, I want to be very honest. We are not taking care of the nature because of lot of populations. Maybe we kill lot of tigers. We are killing lot of elephant only because of our sustainability. We should take care.
Okay.
We should learn from you. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to save the Bengali tiger because they're famous, world famous. Everybody knows about the Bengali tiger.
Yeah, well, we never know. We can invite Bengali tigers in our global talent show.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, you're right. I sent it over to quite a few people now. I did find it wasn't an email. Thank you, Dr. Sharif, and we'll work on the World Talent show this summer so we can get this thing launched. It sounds like a great idea. Good plan.
Yeah.
yeah, on that note, we get it on out of here.